This is Bob Hoffman of Merkel & Associates. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Bolsa Chica dredging project for 2018. Okay, so here's the inlet at the beginning of this year. There's a considerable amount of fill that's occurred near the mouth area at the ends of the jetty. And a similar situation for the up-coast beach area. The sediment pretty much fans out, creating this very shallow condition. And the down coast area is not much different. And in between the jetties, you have two shoals that are increasing in size as time goes on, essentially necking down the channel area. We're going to be traveling over the bridges now, the first one being PCH. Then the oil service bridge. And you'll see the shoal condition in the basin here at the early part of this year. Now we're going to switch to the ongoing dredging. CJW has been real innovative in terms of how they're dredging, both last year and this year, using dry land equipment, excavators in this case, to dredge the accumulated material. Essentially, they've got 4 excavators here. First one's taking material from the water, and then within the radius of the second excavator, it passes it off to him. And then he does the same thing to the third one. And ultimately it gets to the fourth one, who will then be dropping it into the swirl tank. I'm going to turn around here so you get another view of it. There's the excavator putting the material basically into a funnel that then drops it into the swirl tank. This funnel is used to better ensure that there's a constant rate of sediment that's going into the swirl tank. Last year they tried just dumping it directly into it, and it would put a load on the pump and then a load off and a load on. Not good for the longevity of the pump. Foam that you're seeing here, and you'll also see it at the discharge site, it's nothing to be concerned about. It's just a natural condition. When you create bubbles in the water column of salt water, the protein that's dissolved in that system will coat the bubbles and form this foam. And here's just a close-up of the swirl tank operation. And from the swirl tank, the pipe goes to the pump, makes a half loop, turns left and heads towards the bridges. Pipe goes underneath the oil service bridge, then it crosses the inlet and comes up on the down coast jetty along the area, and then goes underneath PCH and ultimately up onto the beach, where it discharges into the 2 basins that are created on the beach. Okay, we're moving to the beach now, and the first basin is the down coast basin that has a single point of discharge into it with a berm surrounding it. The second basin that we're coming up to, that's closest to the jetty, has got a series of ports that discharge. We call it the sprinkler system. It's a very effective way of minimizing the erosive forces of the discharge by having multiple discharge points, and you retain essentially 100% of the sand. It's a great way to do beach replenishment. Other people ought to think about doing it this way in Southern California. Just shows you the multiple ports that were constructed. Some of them have filled in a little bit with sand and they're not working quite as well as they should, but here's a close-up of one of them. It just shows the water and the sand coming out in a fairly controlled manner. More of the same. There's the infamous foam again. Tractors constantly got to move sand around to maintain the berms. And I think we're coming up to the down coast basin, and you can see the single pointed discharge. Much reduced velocity than you normally see from a single point discharge of dredge material onto the beach. Same principle applies here. Big basin, lots of spreading area, retain essentially 100% of the sand. So I'm going to go up in elevation so you get a better view of the entire beach disposal area. This is just a very efficient and cost-effective way of doing dredging and beach replenishment. Other people ought to be doing the same thing. Finally, one of the advantages of having the berms on the beach with the water contained behind it is the water will filter through the sand and come up on the other side of the berm, totally filtered with no turbidity. That's a quick overview of the dredging project for Bolsa Chica for 2018, expected to be done in the end of June. I usually fly the inlet area during the non-dredging part of the year every 2 weeks to monitor the condition of the inlet. And during the dredging, I'm usually doing it every couple of days. It's a very effective means and really the only reasonable way of finding out truly what's going on and correcting problems when they become apparent.